So there's this word Davka.
Oh.
Davka is this is another word that Hebrew borrowed from Yiddish. And once again, it stayed because there was no problem in keeping it, because it wasn't a Hebrew word. It was a Lashon Kodesh word. It was from Aramaic.
Mhm.
So there's Davka. It's like a technical term in the Talmud. It means that we're not discussing, it's not only particularly to one subject, but it's also applicable to other forms, like other subjects, and also in cases where we're talking about a thing. So we're talking about the thing literally, Davka, or not literally. For example, there's a part in the Talmud they're discussing. It says in the Bible that they're going to Sukkota, and the rabbis. This is actually not in the Talmud. I think it's in one of the midrashim. And the rabbis are saying the Sukkot that they're in, the children of Israel. Sukkot are like these temporary huts. Yeah. So
from the Feast of Booths.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the children of Israel, when it says in the Bible in this particular verse that they are in booths, are we talking about booths like Sukkot, like in Sukkot, or is it really a metaphor for the Spirit of God taking them through something like some kind of fanciful, supernatural kind of boost, and then it's like boost, but not real boost. So you can use the word Davka, and they use the word Davka when you say Davka Sukkot. It's the literally actual Sukkot.
So the rough translation is specifically, right? Or
it could be. I would use literally. It's literally a sukkah. Like I'm literally
it's
talking.
Mamash literally. See what I did there.
Yeah, Mamash is another good example.
We'll talk about that next. All right.
So it's a what's important is it's a technical term used in the Talmud. Now, since all these Ashkenazi Jews, and not only Ashkenazi Jews, but we're talking about Yiddish, we're studying the Talmud, and it's a common term. This word entered into Yiddish, and it has a different meaning somewhat. It has all kinds of meanings, okay, in Yiddish. I'll give some of them. You can
actually, before you do that, I just want people to understand this word Davka, or I grew up saying it Davka, which you can talk about the difference there. It really is an important concept in like Yiddish speaking culture, right? Like I'm a person who didn't know more than a dozen words of Yiddish, and I knew the word Davka, and it's a word that I would not have necessarily realized was even not English until I reached a certain age, just because I was immersed with words like Davka and chutzpah and mamish, and words like these are words that were so deeply ingrained in my upbringing. And my father didn't speak Yiddish. My mother spoke. She could understand it, and she spoke a little bit, or she does still speak a little bit. My grandmother, that was her native tongue, right? So it's not just some obscure word, and it's an important concept in modern Israeli culture, I would say as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Lasot Davka, to do Davka.
So,
all right. So tell us about Davka.
So it has several uses. It's not perfectly translatable. So you said Lasot Davka. One of the ways you use it is when you say somebody Lasot Davka, does Davka, or when you say he's going to school. Okay, so somebody's going to school. He's going to school Davka. You're saying he's doing it out of spite. He's doing it to make you angry, or like he's doing it on purpose to hurt somebody, or to see. So that's what Davka does when it's added to the end of a sentence. But you can also use it completely differently when you put it inside a sentence. And when you say, I like eating cheese, okay? So you can say, Davka, I like eating cheese, and then it's me that likes eating cheese rather than the other people. These other people, they don't like eating cheese. It's me that likes eating cheese. Or if I put the Davka before the word cheese,
Mm.
So it's, I like eating cheese, not these other foods. It's dafka, the cheese I like to eat. So
Wow.
it has this specifying, but not only saying specifically, it's saying not the others. And you can use it in any sentence. You can add it. And the thing before, you put it before, you're saying that that thing is true while other things aren't true. It's a great way how mother-in-laws insult in a subtle and a very painful way. This is a Jewish mothers-in-laws have been doing this for generations. Your daughter-in-law made a beautiful cake and it's delicious, and you really enjoyed the meal, the cake. It's so good. And you say, "Zo dafka uvga meula." It conveys that you're saying that the cake is excellent. But by using dafka, it's like surprising that the cake is excellent. I wouldn't have expected that this cake would be good, but this one actually is.
It's like saying, this is actually good, right? So that would be the translation here, I think. So wow, so that's a very versatile word, and it's a word that's used quite regularly, right? It's not like some obscure word. Right?
All the time. It's all the time in Yiddish and all the time in Hebrew. And the thing is, it's in Hebrew. Now, Hebrew could have adopted the word straight from the Talmud and used it the way it's in the Talmud. But we don't use it that way. We use it exactly in the same way that it's used in Yiddish. Not only that,
use it in the way that it's used in Yiddish.
Dafka the way in Yiddish, and exactly, and not like the way it's in the Talmud. Now, and we also Dafka pronounce it the way they pronounce it in Yiddish. We say Dafka and not Davka. It's written, it's still spelled today in Hebrew.
And nobody says Davka. They all say, I mean,
you could say some hypercorrect, and if you're speaking in a formal way, or you're very like maybe on TV, you would say, you're supposed to say Davka with the stress at the end of the word. But people say in regular speech, I haven't counted in recordings and everything, but everyone says Dafka. And Davka is now there's a like linguistic explanation for this. This is a partial assimilation. This is a partial assimilation. What happened is there's different qualities of a consonant. So V sound of V, that's a voiced consonant, as opposed to and it comes with a pair. An unvoiced version of that is a F. Okay. There's another one will be helpful to understand what we're talking about is voice. We have Va and Fa. Okay, so we have K and G. Okay, so the voiced is the G and the non-voiced is the K. There's like a vibration-y-ness of the consonant, which is the voiced quality. So there's some stickiness of between consonants when they're placed together in quick. Sometimes they become similar to each other. If there's a voice consonant before or after, the consonant before or after will become voiced, even though it's not supposed to be voiced, or the opposite can happen. In this case, the K in Davka, so it's unvoiced, and while the V sound that was before is voiced. So people anticipating in their mind, anticipating that they're going to need to make an unvoiced K in a second, or in a fraction of a second, they also unvoice the sound before. And instead of saying Davka, they say Dafka. And eventually, this process happens over time. And it's not that this is happening every time we say the word. It's not because it's unvoiced or not voiced. This rule of unvoicing, but this assimilation in this case, isn't active in modern Hebrew. It only appears in words that Hebrew adopted from Yiddish. In other words, for example, Savta. Savta, grandma, is spelled as if it's supposed to be savta. But again, with the voice v, same, but we pronounce it safta because again, the ta, that's unvoiced consonant, and it backwards partially assimilated.